So version 4.2 is finally out. All the new characters received some kind of adjustment. That includes silverwolf 999, Evanescia, and also EMC. But interestingly, Nova Flare did not get any changes at all this time. Since the changes in this version are not that extensive, I'm going to cover everything in this single video. Alright, let's get this started. To be honest, I was a bit surprised that Silverwolf did not receive that many updates. Even though version 3 had quite a lot of adjustments, in my opinion she still felt a bit lacking as a main push unit. But now in version 4, I would say she's at least in a better spot. Evanescia also got some improvements, although EMC, well, it's still kind of the same story. Alright, let's start with Silverwolf 999. In total, there are 8 changes, 2 of them are pretty minor, but the rest include a few important ones, especially around 3 key areas. First, the trigger system for her funky munch bean has been changed. Previously, it was based on punchline, but now it uses hidden MMR instead. So mechanically, this part will feel a bit different compared to before. Second, her enhanced basic attack got a direct buff. The multipliers increased, the main damage went up from 220 to 240, and the final hit also received a boost from 90% to 100%. Other than that, everything else stays the same. Next, her talent also received adjustments, specifically in the crit scaling. Before, every point of hidden MMR increased crit rate by 0.3%, now it's 0.4%. And once the crit rate reaches its cap, the conversion into crit damage is also higher, from 0.6% up to 0.8%. This is actually a really solid improvement, and should make building her feel more rewarding. For her enhanced elation skill, the only change is a small one. The break value increased from 5 to 10. Moving on to traces, technically there are 2 changes, but one of them is wording, so it's not worth discussing. The important one is the speed scaling adjustment. Now the minimum speed required to activate her elation buff is 160. However, the buff itself increased from 30% to 50%. So on paper, this looks like a 20% buff, but in practice, it does not really change much. Why? Because to reach the maximum value, you now need up to 260 speed. And realistically speaking, hitting 260 speed on a current support or sustain units is extremely difficult. So unless you actually reach that threshold, the performance is basically the same as in version 3. The only scenario where this becomes significant is we get future units that can massively boost speed. So for now, we will just have to wait and see. Now let's talk about Adelance. Her E1 has been adjusted and now has better synergy with their team. Previously, the vulnerability increase only applied during her enhanced basic attack, meaning it mostly benefits herself. But now, as long as the enemy is inside her zone, the vulnerability effect applies, allowing the entire team to take advantage of it while she is in her special state. Her E4 also changed. Previously, it instantly granted 999 punchline through her enhanced elation skill. Now instead of being instant, it gives 5 punchlines per point. So the scaling is higher, but it requires build-up instead of giving everything at once. As for E6, it received a small buff, Melee Make increased by 10%. And that's pretty much it for Silverwolf 999 in version 4. Now moving on to Evanescia. Overall, she only received 3 main changes. First, her talent. The elation scaling from crit damage was slightly reduced, going from 25% down to 20%. Even though it's only a 5% decrease, since it affects elation scaling, it should still be noticeable. However, other elation multipliers were increased, so overall it should not feel too harsh. In addition, the random damage portion of her ultimate got buffed, from 25% up to 28%. Her elation skill also received a buff, with the multiplier increasing from 100% to 110%. Lastly, her Eidolons 1 and 2 were essentially swapped. The effect that previously increased damage is now replaced with 20% resistance penetration, bringing it back to how it worked before version 3. Meanwhile, the old penetration effect was moved and replaced with crit damage. There's also a change to her certified banger scaling. Previously, it capped at 50%, but now it can go up to 100%. Overall, these changes makes her feel closer to her earlier version. So this means if you want to fully unlock her potential, going for E1 or E2 is a very good investment, but Eva will still doing just fine at E0, together with Yalguang, the meat and chopped EMC, and Huahuo as her team. But I'm pretty confident both EMC and Huahuo here will be replaced as soon as we get another new elation member in the future. And that's all for Evanescia. Now let's talk about EMC. The only changes is in Eidolon 6, but it's actually quite significant. Previously, it provided 12% speed buff to a single target. Now, when EMC uses their elation skill, they gain 100% crit damage for 3 turns. However, this is a self-buff only, so this means it no longer benefits other characters like Evanescia. It only boosts EMC, personally. Honestly, this is a bit hard to evaluate. On paper, 100% crit damage sounds really strong. But if we look at EMC's damage performance in version 3, it still does not seem high enough to make a big impact. It might even reduce their synergy with Silverwolf, since they can no longer provide speed buffs. So overall, the changes in version 4 are not that massive. Silverwolf 999 definitely got some meaningful improvements, especially in her talent and team synergy. Those should feel noticeable in actual gameplay. The rest of her changes probably won't feel that impactful unless you are hitting very high stat thresholds. She was already performing well, and it's pretty clear that they are pushing her as an anniversary level unit. They are trying to make her stand out above everything else. In version 3, I don't think she was quite above at the top tier units yet, but with these buffs, she might actually reach that level now. Her enhanced basic attack hits harder, her crit scaling is better, and she gains more elation just from building her normally. That alone is already a big deal. On top of that, her E1 now benefits the entire team, which means units like Sparksy or Yaoguang can deal even more damage. If you go further into Eidolons, E6 being tied to her enhanced basic attack is just a straight upgrade compared to before. So yeah, overall, really strong improvements across the board. Evanescia on the other hand turned out better than expected. I originally thought her damage would drop significantly, but most of the nerfs were focused on attack scaling rather than elation scaling. So now she feels more specialized as an elation DPS compared to before. The increased multipliers on her skill and ultimate should help make up for the crit damage conversion loss. And with the E1 and E2 changes, her vertical investment path is actually insane now. Her E1 is already extremely strong, and now her E2 is even better. So depending on your investment level, you can stop at E1 or go to E2. Both are very solid options. As for EMC, it still feels underwhelming, even with that big E6 adjustment. But again, it's better to wait and see how it performs in real gameplay. They still feel a bit confusing. I'm not really sure where they stand yet. Maybe there will be a V5 that helps them out, but for now, it's hard to say how good they will actually be. I think they really messed up the EMC progression by releasing Yaoguang first at the start of Planacardia. EMC could have been a budget entry into the path, but now it feels like a co-op option for some players that skip Yaoguang. Even their kit concept is absurd. You make the ally target to cast their elation skill. That sounds good and even interesting at the start, but now it feels underwhelming. When in the earlier patch we have a unit whose ultimate can literally trigger full AHA instance, which leads to all team members cast their elation skills. In V1 they used to use their own elation skill with E6, which generated more energy and let them have 2-turn ultimate. In V3 they changed EMC from Eva's true support to Silverwolf due to the speed buffs, but they ruined it once again. And now in this V4 they strip away their support capabilities and instead turn it into a self-crit damage buff. They might think it's going to solve the minor damage that EMC has from the previous versions, but in reality, it ruined everything. So yeah, EMC kind of suck right now, and possibly not really that worth to build. Now the big question, is this the final version? Honestly, it's hard to say. There's a possibility that version 4 is the last one, especially since the 4.2 livestream is scheduled for this Friday. It's going to be pretty unusual to have a version 5 release in the morning, and then the livestream later on the same day. But at the same time, we have seen cases like this before where changes still happened even after the creator server, so there's still a chance that more adjustment could come. So yeah, nothing's fully guaranteed yet. Alright, that's everything for this video. So far, are you guys satisfied with these changes? Or on the contrary, it pisses you off so that you decide to skip both characters and won't build EMC? Please share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like and subscribe button, turn on notification as well so you won't miss out on any of my Star Rail content. I will see you guys on my next one. Bye bye!